see them, don't you? The ones who move through life with a different kind of energy. They build, they create, they achieve. They seem to have a playbook that you were never given. You work hard, you have goals, you want more for yourself. But there's a gap, an invisible wall between where you are and where they are. You feel it every time you start and stop, every time you lose focus, every time you end the day wondering where the time went and what you really accomplished. The difference is not luck. It's not talent. It's not about being born into the right family or having the right connections. The difference is what they know. Not just what they know in their heads, but what they understand in their bones. They operate on a set of principles you were never taught. They see the world through a different lens, and because of that, they take different actions. This isn't about secrets kept from you. It's about truths you haven't yet learned to live by. It's about a mindset that isn't just focused on winning, but is built for it. In this audiobook, we are going to close that gap. We are going to deconstruct the mental frameworks of the successful and hand you the playbook piece by piece. This isn't about motivation that fades. This is about deep, structural change. This is about rebuilding your approach to your life from the ground up. The first thing you must understand is this. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They build systems for action. Most people live their lives waiting for a feeling. They wait to feel inspired before they start the project. They wait to feel motivated before they go to the gym. They wait to feel confident before they speak up. And while they are waiting, the successful are already moving. They're not moving because they feel like it. They are moving because they have a system. A system is what carries you when your feelings fail you. And your feelings will always fail you. Motivation is a fair weather friend. It shows up when the sun is shining, when you're rested, when the path is clear. But what happens when it's storming? What happens when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when the world is loud and your mind is louder? Motivation disappears. And if that's all you rely on, you disappear with it. Successful people know this. So they don't leave their progress up to chance. They don't leave it in the hands of a fleeting emotion. They build a structure, a routine, a set of non-negotiable actions that they perform day in and day out, regardless of how they feel. Their system is the engine. Their feelings are just passengers. Look at your own life. How many times have you set a goal, full of fire and excitement, only to watch it fade in a few weeks? You blame yourself. You think you're lazy or that you lack willpower. But the problem wasn't your desire. The problem was your design. You had a destination but no vehicle to get you there. You had a goal but no system. A system is simple. It's a pre-made decision. You decide once that you will work out every morning at 7 a.m. Then you stop making that decision every day. You don't wake up and ask yourself, do I feel like working out? The decision is already made. The system is in place. All you have to do is execute. You take the thinking, the negotiating, the internal debate completely out of the equation. This is where the magic happens. When you stop wasting mental energy on deciding whether to do something, you have more energy to actually do it. Your mind isn't your enemy, it's just lazy. It's designed to conserve energy. If you give it an opportunity to debate, to find an excuse, to take the path of least resistance, it will. A system closes all the exits. It tells your mind, we are not negotiating this. This is what we do now. So, how do you build one? You start small. You build a system that is so easy, so simple, that you can't say no. You don't start by trying to change your entire life in one day. You start by winning the first hour of your day. Maybe your system is, wake up, drink a glass of water, and read for 10 minutes. That's it. No negotiation. You do it every single day. That small act of consistency does something powerful. It sends a message to your brain, I am in control. I keep my promises to myself. That one small win creates momentum, and momentum is the only cure for a lack of motivation. Once you prove to yourself you can be consistent with one small thing, you can add another. The system grows. Your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries to be disciplined and start seeing yourself as someone who is disciplined. This is the fundamental difference. Unsuccessful people focus on the outcome. They dream of the finish line. Successful people focus on the process. They fall in love with the system. They know that if the system is right, the outcome is inevitable. They don't chase the result, they commit to the routine. Your current life is a product of your current systems. The state of your health, your finances, your mind, it's all a reflection of your daily habits. If you don't like the results, don't blame your luck. Look at your system. Look at what you repeat. Because what you do every day is building your future, whether you're paying attention or not. Successful people are paying attention. They are deliberate. They design their days with intention. They build a fortress of habits that protects them from their own worst impulses, from laziness, from doubt, from the seductive whisper of tomorrow. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Start building. Lay one brick today. Follow one simple rule without exception. That is your work. Not to feel motivated, but to be consistent. To build a system that runs even when you don't feel like running. Because the person who can show up on their worst day will always beat the person who only shows up on their best day. That is the first thing successful people know. They don't find discipline, they build it into their lives, one system at a time. And because of that, they don't have to wait for the right feeling. They create the right results. The second principle that separates the successful from the rest is their relationship with time. Most people see time as something to manage. They buy planners, use apps, and try to cram more tasks into their 24 hours. They are constantly busy, constantly rushing, but they never feel like they're getting ahead. That's because they're playing the wrong game. Successful people don't just manage time, they invest it. Managing time is defensive. It's about not falling behind. It's about getting everything done. Investing time is offensive. It's about making your future bigger than your present. It's about planting seeds today that will grow into forests tomorrow. When you manage time, you ask, what do I have to do today? When you invest time, you ask, what can I do today that will make tomorrow better? Look at your to-do list. How many of those items are just maintenance? Answering emails, running errands, attending meetings that could have been an email. These are tasks that keep your life running, but they don't move it forward. They are the equivalent of paying your bills. It's necessary, but it doesn't make you wealthy. Successful people understand the difference between motion and progress. Motion is being busy. Progress is getting closer to a desired future. They guard their time with a ferocity that might seem selfish to others. They are ruthless about saying no. They say no to requests that don't align with their vision. They say no to distractions that offer short-term pleasure but long-term regret. They say no to being busy for the sake of being busy, because every yes to something that doesn't matter is a no to something that does. Time is their most valuable asset, and they refuse to squander it. They know it is the one resource they can never get back. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose a job and find another, but a wasted hour is gone forever. This understanding creates a sense of urgency, not of panic, but of purpose. Successful people perform a mental audit of their time. They ask, what activities produce the greatest results? This is the 80-90 principle in action, the idea that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. While most people spend their week spread thinly across 100 different tasks, the successful identify that vital 20%, the high-leverage activities, and they pour their best energy into those. What is your 20%? What are the few actions that, if done consistently, would completely transform your life in the next year? Maybe it's learning a high-value skill. Maybe it's building a key relationship. Maybe it's creating a product or service. Whatever it is, that is where your investment needs to go. The rest is just noise. To invest your time, you must first create it. You do this by creating blocks of uninterrupted focus. The world is designed to distract you. Notifications, social media, the constant stream of information. It's all engineered to steal your attention. Successful people build walls around their time. They have specific blocks in their calendar for deep work, where the phone is off, the door is closed, and the mind is focused on a single important task. This is not about working more hours. It's about working more deeply in the hours you have. 1 hour of pure, uninterrupted focus is worth more than 5 hours of fragmented, distracted effort. In that focused state, you do your best work. You solve your hardest problems. You create your greatest value. That is an investment that pays dividends for years to come. Furthermore, they invest time in things that seem unproductive to the outside world, but are crucial for long-term success. They invest time in learning, reading books that expand their mind. They invest time in thinking, just sitting in silence and processing ideas. They invest time in rest, knowing that burnout is the enemy of progress. They invest time in relationships, building a network of people who support and challenge them. These activities don't have an immediate, tangible payoff. You don't get a certificate for thinking. You don't get paid for sleeping well. But these investments compound. The knowledge you gain makes you more valuable. The clarity you find from thinking prevents costly mistakes. The energy you get from rest fuels your best work. The relationships you build open doors you couldn't open alone. So stop just managing your time. Start investing it. At the end of each day, don't just ask, did I get everything done? Ask, did I make an investment in my future today? Did you learn something new? Did you work deeply on something that matters? Did you build a relationship? Did you rest and recover so you can be strong tomorrow? This is a game of long-term vision. The world will tempt you with instant gratification. It will offer you the empty calories of distraction, but you must have the discipline to choose the long game. To plant a tree today, knowing you won't sit in its shade for years. That is the discipline of an investor. Take back your time. See it not as 24 hours to fill, but as a portfolio to grow. Be a ruthless investor. Cut your losses, the activities and people that drain your time with no return. Double down on your winners, the high-leverage tasks that move your life forward. Your future is not determined by how busy you are. It is determined by where you choose to invest your most precious asset. That is the second secret. Time is not a clock to be watched, but capital to be deployed. Invest it wisely. The third principle is one that most people overlook entirely. They focus on strategies, tactics, and external actions, but they ignore the foundation upon which all success is built. Successful people know that you must master your emotional state before you can master your craft. Your emotional state is the filter through which you experience reality. If your internal world is chaotic, your external world will be a reflection of that chaos, no matter how hard you work. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you execute it from a state of fear, doubt, or frustration, you will sabotage your own efforts. Think about it. When you feel anxious, you make rushed, poor decisions. When you feel angry, you damage relationships. When you feel insecure, you hesitate and miss opportunities. Your emotions are not just feelings, they are powerful forces that dictate your behavior. Unsuccessful people are slaves to their emotions. They react. Something happens, and they are instantly pulled into a state of anger, panic, or despair. Their emotions are in the driver's seat, and their life is a reactive, bumpy ride. Successful people practice emotional discipline. They understand that while they cannot control what happens to them, they have absolute control over how they respond. They create a space between the stimulus and their response. In that space lies their power. In that space, they choose to respond with clarity, purpose, and calm, rather than reacting with raw, unfiltered emotion. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It's not about pretending you don't feel fear or frustration. It's about acknowledging the emotion without becoming it. It's about seeing the wave, feeling its power, but choosing not to be swept away by it. This is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. One of the most powerful practices is proactive state management. Successful people don't wait for the day to happen to them. They set their emotional tone for the day with intention. They have a morning routine that is designed not just for productivity, but for priming their mind and body for a peak state. This might include meditation to cultivate calm and awareness. It might include exercise to release endorphins and build energy. It might include journaling to process thoughts and set intentions. It might include practicing gratitude to shift their focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. They are deliberately creating the emotional state they want to live in. They are being the thermostat, not the thermometer. A thermometer simply reflects the temperature of the room. A thermostat sets it. You must decide if you will be a reflection of your circumstances or the creator of your emotional climate. Furthermore, they have tools to manage their state in real time throughout the day. When they feel stress rising, they have a technique to bring themselves back to center. It might be a simple breathing exercise, a slow, deep breath that signals to their nervous system that they are safe and in control. It might be a physical shift, standing up, stretching, changing their posture to one of power and confidence. Your physiology and your psychology are deeply connected. Change your body, and you will change your mind. It might be a mental reframe. They catch their negative thoughts and challenge them. They ask, is this thought true? Is it useful? They consciously choose a more empowering perspective. They see a challenge not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow. They see failure not as a verdict, but as a lesson. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about choosing the most resourceful interpretation of events. This mastery of emotion is what gives them their resilience. When they face a setback, they allow themselves to feel the disappointment, but they don't live there. They process the emotion, extract the lesson, and get back on the path. While others are paralyzed by failure for weeks or months, the successful are back in the game in hours or days, because their identity is not tied to their results, it's tied to their ability to keep moving forward. Your emotional home is the state you return to most often. Is your home a place of stress and worry, or is it a place of calm and confidence? You get to choose. You get to build that home, one intentional practice at a time. Stop neglecting your inner world. Your emotions are not a soft skill, they are the operating system for your entire life. If your OS is buggy and prone to crashing, nothing else will function properly. Your work is to debug that system every single day. Start your day with intention. Don't grab your phone and let the world's chaos flood your mind. Take the first 10 minutes for yourself. Breathe. Set an intention for the day. Decide what emotional state you want to embody. Throughout the day, practice checking in with yourself. When you feel a negative emotion rising, pause, breathe, create that space, choose your response. This is the invisible work. No one will see you doing it. There are no awards for emotional regulation. But this work is what makes all the other work possible. You cannot build a great life on a foundation of emotional chaos. You must first build the internal stability that can withstand the storms of life. Master your inner world, and the outer world will begin to bend to your will. That is the third secret. Your state is your fate. The fourth principle is a master key to extraordinary results, yet it is profoundly misunderstood by the majority of people who are trapped in the cult of the grind. The principle is this: successful people focus on leverage, not just hard work. Hard work is essential. No one achieves anything meaningful without it. But hard work alone is not enough. You can work 18 hours a day digging a hole with a spoon, and you will get very tired, but you won't get very far. The spoon is the wrong tool. Leverage is about finding a better tool, a shovel, or better yet, an excavator. It's about finding the point where a small amount of effort produces a massive result. Unsuccessful people think linearly. They think, if I put in 1 unit of effort, I get 1 unit of result. If I want 10 units of result, I must put in 10 units of effort. This is the employee mindset. You trade your time for money at a fixed rate. Successful people think exponentially. They ask, how can I put in 1 unit of effort and get 100 or 1,000 units of result in return? They are constantly searching for points of leverage. So, where do you find leverage? It exists in many forms. The first and most powerful form of leverage is knowledge. Not just any knowledge, but specific high-value knowledge. Learning a skill that is in high demand and low supply gives you immense leverage. While others are competing for minimum wage jobs, you can command a premium for your expertise. Time spent learning is the highest leverage activity there is. One idea from a book can save you 10 years of mistakes. One skill can multiply your income tenfold. Stop just working in your life, start working on your skills. The second form of leverage is technology. We live in an age of infinite leverage. You can write a piece of code, create a piece of content, or build a digital product once, and it can work for you 24 hours a day, serving millions of people. While someone is trading their time for money, your creation is generating value while you sleep. Most people are consumers of technology. They use it for entertainment and distraction. Successful people are producers. They use technology as a lever to scale their impact far beyond their individual capacity. The third form of leverage is capital. Money can be used to buy time and scale effort. You can hire people who have skills you don't possess, freeing you to focus on your unique strengths. You can invest in tools and systems that automate tasks and increase efficiency. Many people have a poor relationship with money. They see it as something to be earned and spent. Successful people see it as a tool to be deployed, a form of energy that can be put to work to create even more value. The fourth, and perhaps most important, form of leverage is relationships. No one succeeds alone. A single conversation with the right person can change the trajectory of your life. A strong network can bring you opportunities, knowledge, and support that you could never access on your own. Unsuccessful people network transactionally. They ask, "What can you do for me?" Successful people build relationships based on genuine connection and value creation. They ask, "What can I do for you?" They know that by helping others, they are building a web of trust and reciprocity that will eventually come back to them in unexpected and powerful ways. Hard work is a blunt instrument. Leverage is a scalpel. Both are necessary, but one requires intelligence and strategic thinking. Stop celebrating being busy. Stop wearing exhaustion as a badge of honor. Start asking the leverage question: what is the smallest action I can take that will produce the biggest result? This requires you to think, to step back from the day-to-day grind and see the bigger picture. It requires you to be strategic. You might need to slow down in the short term to build a system or learn a skill that will allow you to speed up dramatically in the long term. This is a trade-off most people are unwilling to make. They are addicted to the feeling of being busy, even if that busyness is unproductive. Audit your life. Where are you just working hard, and where are you applying leverage? Are you using technology to automate and scale? Are you investing in skills that multiply your value? Are you using your capital to buy time and resources? Are you building genuine relationships that create opportunities? This is the thinking that separates the amateur from the professional. The amateur just shows up and works. The professional designs their work for maximum impact. They are not just a player in the game, they are a student of the game's physics, always looking for the fulcrum and the lever. Your energy and time are finite. You cannot simply work harder indefinitely. But your ability to apply leverage is infinite. There is always a smarter way. There is always a better tool. Your job is not just to do the work, but to constantly seek out and apply leverage in everything you do. Stop digging with a spoon. Take the time to find your excavator. It will require more thought, more strategy, and more patience in the beginning. But once you have it, you will move mountains while others are still just scratching the surface. That is the fourth secret. Hard work is the price of entry. Leverage is the key to victory. The fifth principle that successful people live by governs the very way they interact with the world. It is the understanding that you must learn to speak with intention, not just to be heard. In a world drowning in noise, most communication is just that, noise. People talk to fill silence. They speak to prove they are smart. They react with words born of impulse and emotion. Their communication is a reflection of their own internal chaos, and it creates more chaos in the world around them. The result is misunderstanding, conflict, and wasted energy. Successful people treat their words with the same respect they treat their time and money. They see words as tools, capable of building empires or burning bridges. They understand that every word they speak is a choice, and they make that choice with deliberate intention. Speaking with intention starts with clarity. Before they speak, they know what they want to achieve. What is the purpose of this conversation? Is it to inform, to persuade, to connect, or to resolve a conflict? They don't just open their mouths and see what comes out. They begin with the end in mind. This clarity makes their communication precise and effective. They don't waste time with rambling stories or vague statements. They get to the point because they know what the point is. To achieve this clarity, they have mastered the art of listening. This is the great paradox of powerful communication. It begins not with speaking, but with deep, active listening. While most people are just waiting for their turn to talk, formulating their response while the other person is still speaking, the successful are fully present. They listen to understand, not just to reply. They listen for what is not being said, the underlying emotions, the hidden assumptions, the true needs. This deep listening gives them a profound advantage. It allows them to understand the other person's world, which in turn allows them to frame their own message in a way that will be received and understood. They don't just broadcast their own ideas, they build a bridge between their mind and the mind of the other person. The second component of intentional speech is, quote, economy. They understand the power of saying less. Mark Twain once said, "I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead." It takes more effort, more thought to be concise. Anyone can ramble. It takes discipline to be direct. In a world of information overload, brevity is a sign of respect for the other person's time and attention. When you speak less, every word carries more weight. People lean in. They listen more closely because they know you are not there to waste their time. Silence is also a powerful tool in their arsenal. They are comfortable with pauses. They use silence to let a point sink in, to create space for the other person to think, or to de-escalate a tense situation. While others rush to fill every gap with noise, they wield silence with surgical precision. The third and most critical component is emotional regulations. As we discussed, they master their state before they communicate. They do not speak from a place of anger, fear, or ego. They understand that communication born of a reactive emotional state is almost always destructive. If they feel a strong emotion rising, they pause, they breathe, they wait until they can respond from a place of calm and clarity. This doesn't mean their communication is devoid of emotion. On the contrary, they can use emotion with great skill. They can inspire with passion, connect with empathy, and persuade with conviction. But the emotion is a tool they are using intentionally, not a force that is using them. Think about your own communication. How often do you speak without a clear purpose? How often do you listen with the intent to reply, not to understand? How often do you use 10 words when 2 would suffice? How often do you let your emotions dictate your words, only to regret them later? This is a skill that can be cultivated. Start by practicing purpose. Before you enter a conversation, ask yourself, what is my intention here? Just this one question will transform the quality of your interactions. Practice deep listening. In your next conversation, make it your sole goal to understand the other person's perspective as deeply as possible, without judgment and without formulating your own response. You will be amazed at what you hear. Before you speak, ask yourself, what is the clearest, most concise way to say this? Edit yourself. Cut the fluff. Get to the heart of the matter. And above all, practice the pause. When you feel a reactive emotion, stop. Take one deep breath. That one breath is the space where you reclaim your power to choose your words. Your words create your world. They shape your relationships, your career, and your own self-perception. Stop using them carelessly. Start wielding them with the intention and skill of a master craftsman. That is the fifth secret. The noise of the world is a distraction. Speak with intention, and your voice will be the one that is heard. The sixth principle addresses one of the most universal and paralyzing human experiences, failure. Everyone fears it, everyone tries to avoid it, and when it happens, most people are crushed by it. They see it as a final verdict on their worth and ability. Successful people have a radically different relationship with failure. They see failure not as an event, but as data. This is not just a clever mental trick, it is a fundamental operating system for growth. When you see failure as an event, it is personal. It is an indictment of who you are. I failed, therefore I am a failure. This mindset leads to shame, avoidance, and a fear of taking future risks. When you see failure as data, it is impersonal. It is simply feedback. The attempt failed. What information can I extract from this to improve my next attempt? This shift from personal identity to objective information is the key to resilience. It transforms a painful ending into a valuable beginning. The successful actively seek out this data. They are not afraid to try things that might not work, because they know that even in failure, they win. They win knowledge, they win experience, they win clarity on what doesn't work, which moves them one step closer to what does. Thomas Edison, in his search for a viable light bulb filament, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the mindset in its purest form. Every failure was simply a data point that narrowed the search and illuminated the path forward. Most people would have quit after the 10th try or the 100th. They would have taken it personally. Edison was a scientist in the laboratory of life, and for a scientist there is no such thing as a failed experiment, there is only more data. So how do you cultivate this mindset? It starts with decoupling your ego from your outcomes. You must understand that your worth as a person is not determined by your successes or failures. Your worth is inherent. Your actions are separate from your identity. You are not your results. You are the person who takes the actions, learns from the results, and takes the next action. This separation creates a psychological safety net. It allows you to take risks because the core of who you are is never on the line. Next, you must develop a structured process for learning from your failures. When something goes wrong, unsuccessful people either blame external factors, the market was bad, or they blame themselves in a destructive way, I'm so stupid. Neither of these leads to growth. Successful people conduct what is called an after-action review. They ask a series of simple, objective questions. 1. What was the intended outcome? What did I want to happen? 2. What was the actual outcome? What really happened? 3. What caused the difference? Why was there a gap? Notice how these questions are analytical, not emotional. They are focused on process, not personality. The goal is not to assign blame, but to extract wisdom. This process turns every setback into a priceless lesson. The person who learns from their mistakes is destined to succeed because they are constantly upgrading their approach. The person who repeats their mistakes is destined to fail because they are trapped in a loop of ignorance. Finally, you must understand the concept of intelligent failure. Not all failures are created equal. Failing because of laziness, carelessness, or a lack of preparation is not a learning experience, it's just poor performance. An intelligent failure is one that occurs at the edge of your abilities. It's the result of taking a calculated risk, of pushing into new territory, of trying something that has never been done before. Successful people are not reckless, but they are willing to operate in the zone of intelligent failure. They know that if they are not failing occasionally, they are not pushing hard enough. They are playing it too safe. They are stagnating. The absence of failure is a sign of complacency, not success. Look at your own life. What is your relationship with failure? Does it paralyze you? Do you take it personally? Or do you see it as an opportunity to learn and grow? Are you taking enough risks to experience intelligent failures, or are you stuck in the comfort zone where nothing ever goes wrong, but nothing ever grows either? Embrace the role of the scientist. Your life is your laboratory. Every action is an experiment. Every outcome, whether success or failure, is just data. Your mission is to gather as much data as possible, learn from it, and iterate your way to success. Stop personalizing your setbacks. Start analyzing them. When you fall, don't just lie there in shame. Get up, dust yourself off, and ask, what did that teach me? The pain of failure is temporary. The regret of not trying, of not learning, of not growing, that is what lasts a lifetime. That is the sixth secret. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. It is the data you need to find the right path. Embrace it, learn from it, and you will become unstoppable. The seventh principle is one that has become increasingly critical in our modern world. It is a law of performance that the successful understand with absolute clarity. You must protect your focus as if it is your most valuable currency. Because it is. In an economy of attention, whatever gets your focus gets your life. Most people have given their focus away for free. They allow it to be fractured and stolen by 1,000 tiny interruptions throughout the day. A notification buzzes and their attention is gone. An email arrives and their train of thought is derailed. They scroll through a social media feed and their cognitive energy is drained by an endless stream of irrelevant information. They live in a state of continuous partial attention. They are never fully present in their work, in their conversations, or even in their leisure. The result is shallow work, shallow relationships, and a persistent feeling of being overwhelmed and unproductive. Their focus is a mile wide and an inch deep. Successful people cultivate the opposite. Their focus is an inch wide and a mile deep. They have trained their ability to concentrate on a single task for an extended period without distraction. This skill, known as deep work, is what allows them to produce results of the highest quality and quantity. In a distracted world, the person who can focus is the one who holds the superpower. While others are skimming the surface, they are diving deep. They are learning complex skills faster, solving harder problems, and creating value that is rare and difficult to replicate. The ability to do deep work is becoming the dividing line between those who thrive and those who merely survive in the 21st century economy. Protecting your focus is an act of defiance. It requires you to consciously fight back against the forces that are engineered to distract you. It starts with your environment. Successful people design their physical and digital spaces for focus. Their workspace is clean and minimalist, free from clutter that could pull their attention. Their digital workspace is even more Spartan. They turn off all non-essential notifications on their phones and computers. They use tools to block distracting websites. They create an environment where focus is the default and distraction is the exception. Next, it requires a shift in your mindset. You must stop seeing boredom as a problem to be solved. Most people, the moment they feel a hint of boredom, reach for their phone for a quick hit of stimulus. This behavior trains the brain to crave constant novelty and destroys its ability to sustain focus. Successful people embrace boredom. They understand that the ability to sit with a single problem, to wrestle with a complex idea without needing a distraction, is where breakthroughs happen. They are not afraid of the quiet, empty spaces in their day. They use them for reflection and deep thought. This ability is built through focus rituals. Just as they have a system for their actions, they have a system for their attention. They practice time blocking, scheduling specific, uninterrupted blocks for deep work. During these blocks, they work like a sprinter. They give the task their absolute, undivided attention. Then, they schedule periods of rest and recovery, allowing their mind to recharge. This rhythm of intense focus followed by deliberate rest is far more effective than the chronic, low-level distraction that most people operate in. They also practice attentional training. This can be as simple as single tasking. When you are working on a report, just work on the report. Don't have 15 tabs open. Don't be checking your email. When you are having a conversation, just have the conversation. Put your phone away. Be fully present. Every time you resist the urge to switch tasks, you are doing a push-up for your focus muscle. Meditation is another powerful form of this training, teaching you to observe your thoughts without getting carried away by them and to gently return your focus to a single point, like your breath. Audit your own focus. How many times were you interrupted in the last hour? How many times did you voluntarily switch tasks? How much of your day was spent in a state of deep, focused work versus shallow, distracted activity? The results will likely be sobering. You cannot produce high-quality work with a low-quality focus. You are not multitasking, you are switch-tasking, and every switch comes with a cognitive cost, leaving you more tired and less effective. Take back control of your attention. Start by creating a sacred, distraction-free block of time each day, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Turn off your phone, close your email, focus on your single most important task. It will be hard at first. Your mind will rebel. It will crave the distraction it has become addicted to. But if you persist, you will begin to rewire your brain. Your ability to focus is a direct predictor of the quality of your life. The focus you bring to your work determines your professional success. The focus you bring to your relationships determines their depth. The focus you bring to your own thoughts determines your inner peace. Stop giving it away so cheaply. It is your most precious resource. Guard it, cultivate it, and invest it only in what truly matters. That is the seventh secret. In the age of distraction, focus is power. The eighth principle is a truth that is both simple and profound, and it is at the heart of all authentic success. It is this: who you are in private determines who you will become in public. The world is obsessed with the public self, the persona on social media, the title on the business card, the image projected in meetings. People spend enormous amounts of energy curating this external identity, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. The real work, the work that creates lasting success and deep fulfillment, happens below the surface, in the moments when no one is watching. Unsuccessful people are performers. Their actions are dictated by their audience. They work hard when the boss is looking. They are kind when it will win them points. Their character is situational. Successful people are guided by an internal compass. Their character is their destiny. They are driven by their own standards, not by the applause of the crowd. They understand that integrity, the alignment of their private actions with their public values, is the bedrock of self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of all achievement. This starts with the promises you make to yourself. When you say you are going to wake up at 6 a.m. and the alarm goes off and no one is there to see you hit snooze, that is a private moment. When you choose to get up, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. You are building self-trust. When you hit snooze, you are casting a vote for your old self, and you are eroding that trust. Life is a series of these private moments. The choice to eat the healthy meal when no one is there to judge you. The choice to do the extra rep in the gym when your workout is already over. The choice to read a book instead of scrolling through social media before bed. Each of these choices is a brick in the foundation of your character. A single brick may seem insignificant, but over time they build a fortress of integrity. The person who cannot be trusted in private cannot be trusted in public, because eventually the private self will leak out. You cannot fake character. You cannot fake discipline. The cracks will eventually show under pressure. The work you do in silence is what prepares you for the moments in the spotlight. This also applies to how you treat others. Your true character is not revealed in how you treat your superiors, but in how you treat the waiter, the janitor, the person from whom you have nothing to gain. Do you act with kindness and respect when there is no social currency to be earned? Those are the moments that define you. Successful people are obsessed with this internal alignment. They are their own harshest critics and their own greatest coaches. They are constantly engaged in a process of self-reflection. They review their days not just for what they accomplished, but for who they were. Did I live up to my own values today? Was I honest? Was I disciplined? Did I treat others with respect? They hold themselves accountable to a standard that is far higher than anyone else could set for them. This private work is not glamorous. It is often lonely. It is the silent grind. It is the early mornings and the late nights. It is choosing the hard right over the easy wrong again and again. But this is where true strength is forged. The strength to withstand criticism because you are secure in your own integrity. The strength to resist temptation because you are committed to your long-term vision. The strength to lead others because you have first learned to lead yourself. The world only sees the final product, the success, the achievement, the confidence. It does not see the thousands of private decisions that created it. But you know, and that is all that matters. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have. Is it built on a foundation of trust and respect, or one of broken promises and self-deception? Stop focusing so much on how you are perceived and start focusing on who you are. Who are you when no one is looking? That is your true self, and that is the self you must work on. Make promises to yourself and keep them, especially the small ones. Start your day with an act of discipline. End your day with an act of reflection. Treat every person you meet with baseline respect, regardless of their status. Be honest in your dealings, even when a small lie would be easier. This is not the fast path. It is the true path. The world is full of people who have achieved public success but are privately miserable because they have no integrity. They are hollow. Their success is a fragile shell that can shatter at any moment. True success is built from the inside out. It is the public manifestation of a private character. It is solid, it is sustainable, it is fulfilling. So ask yourself the hard question. Are you the same person in private as you are in public? If not, that is your work, to close that gap. To build a life of integrity, one private decision at a time. That is the 8th secret. The audience doesn't matter. The character does. Your public victory is born from your private discipline. The 9th principle that distinguishes the successful is a subtle but powerful evolution in how they approach knowledge. Most people are focused on learning. Successful people are focused on building frameworks for thinking. Learning is about acquiring information. It's about reading books, taking courses, and consuming content. This is a crucial first step, but for most people, it's also the last. They become collectors of information. Their heads are filled with facts, quotes, and disconnected ideas, but this information rarely translates into better results in their lives. They know what to do, but they don't have a reliable system for how to think about their problems. A framework, or a mental model, is a system for understanding the world. It's a simplified representation of reality that helps you make sense of complexity. It's a tool for your mind. While information is the raw material, a framework is the machine that processes that material into a useful output, a better decision, a creative solution, a more accurate prediction. Successful people don't just collect information, they build a toolbox of mental models that they can apply to any situation. They are not just experts in one specific subject, they are experts in thinking. Let's take the mental model of first principles thinking. Most people reason by analogy. They do something because it's the way it has always been done, or because it's what other people are doing. This is a shortcut that often leads to incremental, unoriginal solutions. First principles thinking, a model famously used by innovators like Elon Musk, involves breaking a problem down to its most fundamental, undeniable truths, its first principles, and then reasoning up from there. This allows you to see the problem from a fresh perspective and create truly innovative, non-obvious solutions. Another powerful framework is inversion. When faced with a problem, most people ask, how can I achieve my goal? The inversion framework flips this around and asks, what are all the things that could cause me to fail? And then systematically works to avoid those things. The great investor Charlie Munger famously said, all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. By focusing on avoiding stupidity rather than seeking brilliance, you can often achieve far better long-term results. These are just two examples from a vast toolbox. Successful people draw frameworks from different fields, from physics like entropy and critical mass, from biology like evolution and feedback loops, from economics like supply and demand and comparative advantage. They understand that the world's most powerful ideas are not confined to a single discipline. By building a latticework of these models in their mind, they can see problems from multiple dimensions, which gives them a massive advantage over the person who only sees the world through one narrow lens. So how do you start building your own frameworks? It begins with a shift in how you consume information. Stop just passively reading for entertainment or to collect facts. Read with the intention of extracting the underlying model. When you read a biography, don't just learn about the person's life. Ask, what were the principles they operated by? What was their framework for making decisions? When you study a business success story, don't just look at what they did. Ask, what was the underlying strategic model that allowed them to win? Create a journal of mental models. When you encounter a powerful idea, write it down. Define it in your own words. Think about where else in your life you could apply it. The act of explaining the model to yourself is what truly embeds it in your mind. And most importantly, practice using them. Information is useless if it's not applied. The next time you face a difficult decision, don't just rely on your gut instinct. Pull out your toolbox. Look at the problem through the lens of first principles. Look at it through the lens of inversion. Look at it through the lens of the 80-20 principle. Which model provides the most clarity? This is a lifelong process. You are not just building a business or a career, you are building a mind. You are upgrading your mental software. The person with the best mental models will, over the long run, make the best decisions. And the person who makes the best decisions will inevitably get the best results. Stop being a mere collector of information. Start becoming an architect of your own mind. Seek out these timeless principles of how the world works. Build them into a robust framework for thinking. Apply them with discipline. This is the work that happens behind the scenes. It is the deep intellectual work that powers all effective action. That is the ninth secret. Information is temporary and abundant. Wisdom is timeless and rare. Don't just learn what to think, learn how to think. We arrive at the final principle, the one that underpins all the others. It is the most demanding and the most transformative truth of all. It is this: your new life will cost you your old one. It is a literal transaction. To become the person you want to be, you must let go of the person you have been. You cannot have both. Growth is not an addition, it is a replacement. You must be willing to sacrifice the comfort of the familiar for the potential of the unknown. Most people are not willing to pay this price. They want the results of a new life, but they want to keep the habits, the mindset, and the relationships of their old one. They want to become a butterfly, but they are not willing to give up being a caterpillar. The transformation, the time and the cocoon, the struggle, it feels like a death. And in a way, it is. It is the death of your old self. What does this sacrifice look like in practice? It means sacrificing your comfortable habits, the habit of sleeping in, the habit of procrastinating, the habit of distracting yourself with cheap entertainment. These habits form the foundation of your old life. They feel safe. They feel like you. To build a new life, you must tear down that foundation and replace it with habits of discipline, focus, and intentional action. This will be uncomfortable. It will feel like you are acting against your own nature. That is the feeling of transformation. It means sacrificing your limiting beliefs. The belief that you are not good enough, that you are not smart enough, that you don't deserve success. These beliefs are the prison bars of your old life. They may be invisible, but they are real. To create a new life, you must wage a war against these beliefs. You must challenge them with evidence. You must starve them of your attention and feed the new, empowering beliefs with daily action and repetition. This is a battle fought in the silence of your own mind, and it is the most important battle you will ever fight. Most painfully, it often means sacrificing relationships. As you begin to grow, you will change. Your values will shift. Your standards will rise. Not everyone in your old life will be able to come with you on this new journey. Some will not understand the new you. Some will feel threatened by your growth and will try to pull you back down. Some will simply no longer be a vibrational match for the person you are becoming. Letting go of these relationships is one of the hardest sacrifices. But you must understand this. You cannot reach a new destination if you are anchored to your starting point. You must have the courage to love people from a distance, to wish them well, and to continue on your own path. Your environment is a powerful force. If you surround yourself with people who are living in the past, they will keep you there. You must have the discipline to surround yourself with people who are aligned with your future. This is the cost of ambition. It is the price of growth. And it is a price that successful people are willing to pay because they know that what they are gaining is far greater than what they are leaving behind. They are not just gaining success in the form of money or status. They are gaining something much more valuable. They are gaining themselves. They are gaining the person they were always meant to be. The journey of transformation is a lonely one at times. There will be moments when you have shed your old skin but have not yet fully grown into your new one. You will feel vulnerable, uncertain, and alone. This is the cocoon. This is the space between who you were and who you will be. You must have the strength to endure this space. You must trust the process. You must keep doing the work even when you cannot see the light. Your old life will call to you. The comfort of old habits, the familiarity of old friends, the safety of old beliefs. It will be tempting to go back, but you must remember why you started. You started because your old life was no longer enough. You started because you knew there was more within you. Do not betray that vision for a moment of comfort. The sacrifice is real, but the reward is a life of authenticity, purpose, and freedom. A life that is not just a reaction to your circumstances, but a conscious creation of your own will. Look at your life right now. What are you clinging to from your old life that is holding you back? What habit? What belief? What relationship? Be brutally honest with yourself. That is what you must be willing to sacrifice. This is the ultimate secret. Success is not an acquisition. It is a transformation. And transformation requires a sacrifice. You cannot have the new without letting go of the old. So choose. Choose the future you want over the comfort you have. Pay the price, and you will not just achieve success, you will become it. Thanks for listening. To support the channel, please consider leaving a review.